Hi, this is Mr. Penka. Welcome to Chapter 2, Lesson 4. I'm here with Mr. Kenora's block
4.
We're talking today about the factors that led to the growth of industry. This lesson is about what do you need to make an industry. So we talked today about mechanization. Mechanization means somebody's getting fired, but someone's getting hired whenever you start up a new industry. Right. So this is how do you start up a new industry. There are 4 things you need.
Hey guys, I just wanted to interject in here real quick. When we talk about industry, what is an industry first? I just want to be clear about that. So an industry is whenever you make things with machines on a massive scale. So if you're in your basement and you're making a fidget spinner, you're not part of the fidget spinner industry. However, if you have a factory and you're making tens of thousands of fidget spinners, now you're a part of the industry. So you're using machines and you're making them on a massive scale to be distributed around the country or around the world. That's what would make it an industry.
Mnemonic here is Fig Workforce. Fig Workforce, do you guys know what a Fig Newton is?
No, I don't.
Fig Workforce. I imagine a big army of Fig Newtons. They're like cookies made of figs, because at some point people like eating figs. They can be very delicious, but like kids don't tend to clamor for them. Like, where's my Capri Sun fig flavored? But 4 things you need. Well, you know what? Wait. First, let's let you copy the notes. So right now, pause it right
now.
And go. Good. So, first thing you need is you need money. So you may have a great idea, but you got to get yourself some money. That's why people go on the show Shark Tank and say, we have a great idea, but we need someone to give us some
Money.
We call that financial resources. So financial resources are money that you have available that you can use. You may have something that's worth a lot of money, it's very valuable, but if it's not available to be used like money, it's not a financial resource. So if it's a bank loan, it's a financial resource. At this time, banking becomes a very big business. J.P. Morgan becomes a captain of the banking industry. So that's what you need. The other thing is inventions. There are certain technologies at this time that make everything else easier. One of them being Alexander Graham Bell's invention of the
Telephone. Oh, telephone.
telephone. So we have a telephone. Other thing is Thomas Edison's invention of the
Light bulb.
the light bulb. Wonderful. The light bulb, and also what powers the light bulb? Electricity. So that's also actually from Nikola Tesla. But it is, because we had the electricity wars. We had 2 different competing kinds, AC and
BC?
That makes sense. No. AC, DC.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Alternating current and then direct current. Those were 2 competing forms of electricity. Thomas Edison was in favor of direct current, which was less powerful but also less deadly. We go for which kind do you think we use? AC. Bye guys.
Bye.
We'll continue this later.
All right, so the bell stopped us with the other class, and so we're going to wrap it up with this guy right here.
Hey!
There you go. So we're talking about how to start a business and how you need money to start a business, and you need certain technologies to start a business, but you also need certain things to make your product. So if you're making steel, do you know what steel is made out of?
No, I actually don't.
Iron ore. So steel
Okay.
requires iron ore. Do you know what steaks require?
Yeah.
How do you build a steak?
You take
Or a hamburger?
it's meat.
All right, so you take a screwdriver, then you kind of unscrew and take apart your cow, and you build it back up into a steak, and that's how you do that. So you access that. How do you build clothing? Cotton. So access to those materials is what you need. That's why Pittsburgh. Have you been to Pittsburgh?
Never been to Pittsburgh, but I hear a lot of Pittsburgh. I'm not a big fan of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I'm a east side of Pennsylvania guy.
What's Philadelphia's main business?
What?
What does Philadelphia make?
Definitely some blue collar workers. We're all Eagles
Okay. Go Eagles.
fans.
Go Eagles.
Business makers.
So they like the Eagles, but so this is the part that I wanted to interject on before that. Right now, I'm talking about the industries that we talked about from lesson 2, That would be like meat packing, textiles, and steel. But I also want to tell you about the ones that are coming up in the next lesson, which are the three big ones that are all over the country. They're the ones that are kind of the lifeblood of all business at this point, and that would be the oil, steel, and railroad. So we're kind of showing you in this lesson a visual of you're putting things into a hopper and out come these three industries. Now these industries are all over the country. Steel is focused in Pittsburgh, but oil, steel, railroad, that's for everywhere, that's for everyone. And those three are going to be two of the most profitable businesses and most impacting businesses in the country at this time. So the cities had their specialty, but then those three, oil, steel, and railroad, the men who run those will kind of steer the country in its next direction. So just wanted to mention that. So in places like Pittsburgh, they built it in Pittsburgh because of the rivers, and so the rivers give them access to iron ore and stuff like that. The fourth thing that you need if you're going to start a business is you need someone to help you make the stuff. And so you need a workforce of either immigrants or migrants. I don't know about Philadelphia. Do you know what ethnic groups?
Irish.
What group is the Kilmartins?
Come on.
Kilmartins?
Irish. We're Scotch-Irish.
All right. So his people, the Irish, would have come to Philadelphia for a job doing, I don't know, we still don't know what they do in Philadelphia.
Right. Yeah.
Football. Right.
Yes.
Football's their main industry.
That's what we're
Okay.
known for.
And boxing. So Philadelphia still has their Irish. Boston, Irish. A lot of people who were Polish ended up going to Chicago. People who were Italian often went to Pittsburgh. And so you need those workers. A lot of this stuff is for this chapter. It all kind of fits together. So why are cities growing? Because of businesses and immigrants moving there. Why are immigrants coming? Because there's businesses there. And so this all kind of feeds together. So Fig workforce. You know what a Fig Newton is?
Yeah, I know what a Fig
Do
Newton
you
is.
like Fig Newtons?
Love Fig Newtons.
Okay, so Fig Newtons. So just picture an army of Fig Newtons marching, and that's the mnemonic here. Fig workforce, financial resources, inventions, getting access to resources, and a workforce of immigrants. Good?
Yes,
Hey,
way to go.
Thanks for coming.
You bet. Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Rebecca.
It's 1872, and Andrew Carnegie, a 5'3" Scottish immigrant iron millionaire, is in Sheffield, England. He's looking at the future. A revolutionary way to make steel. Steel has been around for thousands of years, but so expensive to produce, it's always been a luxury item. 2,000 years ago, it's used in Oriental swords. It is even used in designer jewelry. But America stands at the brink of a new age. To build it, they need steel, and lots of it. It's the only material strong enough for the towers that will touch the sky. An English bullet maker is showing Carnegie a new but simple method of producing steel. He's stunned. Blast hot air through molten iron. Carbon impurities burn off. You get the wonder material. Steel. For the first time, it can be produced quickly and inexpensively. If Carnegie can use this Bessemer process to mass produce it, he'll own the future. Carnegie returns to the States, to Pittsburgh, to start building the biggest steel plant in the world. It'll be larger than 80 football fields. It's a massive gamble. Carnegie risks everything he's got on the new plant. But only months into construction, disaster. A catastrophic stock market collapse. The economy is in free fall. He has to borrow even more money and barely scrapes through. August 1875. Against all odds, Carnegie's giant furnaces are ready to test. Steel production is phenomenally dangerous. Inside, 5 tons of molten metal. 3,000 degrees. Hot enough to vaporize a man in seconds. If it works, it will make Carnegie one of the richest men in the world. But there's a lot more at stake. Skyscrapers, cars, washing machines, airplanes, even space travel. None of it can happen if steel can't be mass-produced. It's a success. Carnegie is the first ever to mass produce steel. Prices plummet by over 80%. Output rockets from a few thousand tons in 1860 to 11 million by 1900.
So many American stories of success are diligence, perseverance, but there's an awful lot of luck involved too.
His timing couldn't have been better. It was steel that built American cities. It was steel that built American railroads. It was steel that built American shipping. By the beginning of the 20th century, he was one of the wealthiest men in America.
Pittsburgh transforms from a sleepy town to the industrial heart of the nation. Its population triples. Driven by a new steel railroad, millions of tons of steel are transported across America, the raw material to build the modern city. And the grandest of all is New York. It's an era of obscene opulence. New York is a playground for super-rich industrialists and financiers. Wildly extravagant, they smoke cigars rolled in $100 bills. Their wives' hats studded with diamonds.